comes out of your insights, it can lead you in a particular direction. So it can show you what the gap in the market is. It can show you who are the most profitable segments to target. So it can show you this particular group of people have this particular need which we could potentially fill. That maybe other brands in a similar market are not doing. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example. Don't target the entire market, but you know this, unless you're Coca-Cola, you want to work with a specific group of people. So 32% of 16 to 24-year-olds have heard of cardies, but they don't go into the store because it looks boring and it looks expensive. A possible insight, okay, we're just guessing, an appealing looking store might get more foot traffic. And if we get more foot traffic, it might overcome this perception of being expensive. That would then lead me towards what would make the store appealing for that group of consumers. So a possible target market would be 16 to 24-year-olds who are looking for a funky yet affordable store. Are all 16 to 24-year-olds the same? Mm-hmm. So a different group of 16 to 24-year-olds might be looking for a higher price premium store. So you need to identify a specific group of people that you want to work with. Give me some examples of competitors to cardies.
Birthdays.
Birthdays? Mm-hmm. Is the cardies target market the same as birthdays? You guys all have heard of birthdays?
Yeah. Isn't it just cardies and birthdays?
Cardies is a specific group of 16 to 24-year-olds, perhaps this group. Isn't birthdays a much more expensive store? A bit more?
And also actually the crazy store, because they're also
completely different target market, do you agree? CNA? Yes. Completely different target market. So each of these is a branded store working in about the same sort of arena, but each of them is targeting a different type of consumer. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Is the consumer going into the crazy store the same consumer that's going to go into birthdays? No. Not at all. Completely different. So you need to be careful that your target market and the way that you segmented these people is right for your brand. Does that make sense? Questions here, guys?
So the range of age, is it from the research? From the
yes. Okay. And also from the brief that you've been given, the history of the company, what you're trying to achieve, all of those things will talk to this.
Okay, who gets to choose that age range though?
You guys. As an agency, as a consultancy, you guys as a group, and you must tell me why. Why did you choose that group as opposed to that group?
Because don't you think it would be rather random, for example, if we know that in terms of the generational aspect, maybe people from the previous generation would be more accustomed to buying cars, for example.
That's true.
So, I don't know, I just thought it was pretty...
You can have a range of different, so you can have a group of 16 to 24-year-olds, you can have 25 to 35, and then you need to tell me the characteristics of each type and why you're targeting and why you've chosen that age range. So you can definitely, this is just an example, you can definitely have a range of different groups. And how does your, if I have, let's say, 3 or 4 different target market segments, does my communication change the way that I execute for each group?
Yes.
Why?
Because they all are responsive to different forms of communication.
Completely different set of consumers. Any question?
When we do present, do we come with possible target markets, or do we come to you and say this is the target market?
This is the target market, and why?
Okay. So you don't want to ask you options. Or...
No, you say this. These are the target markets. These are the reasons why. And then we can question you and say, okay, why did you choose this? Why do you think that? So
it's the final target market that we present. Like.
Absolutely. Your research, your insights, your findings leads you in a particular direction.
Wouldn't you have like your primary target market and then your secondary?
You can. There's a lot of scope in this section.
So then the client would tell you, this is my target market. And then when you do segmenting and target marketing, will it be like for this particular campaign?
You might find a gap, or you might find that in the target market that they've given you, there's a smaller group that you actually want to target because this particular insight or behavior, whatever, relates to that group. There's a lot of scope in this area. Any other questions here?
I just want to know generally, not just for this, but how often do we present to the client?
I'm going to talk about process at the end. Okay, so I'll get there.